Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. All right. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited, man. Super excited for the gala this year. It's our second annual gala. Huge growth we've had over the last 12 months, guys. This is a celebration of, our growth is your growth. And if you don't grow, we don't grow. So we're all about watering the trees. We're all about making sure we cultivate and provide as many tools and trainings and resources. I mean, you think it, you dream it, we build it is our slogan. And so we're incredibly excited for the gala to be celebrating those of you guys that hit major milestones. Some of you guys are coming to us for the first time, coming to our first event ever is going to be the gala. You're in for a treat. Trust me. If you haven't checked your email, please do so. Check your spam, check your promotional folder. You might have gotten an invite and you don't know it. So make sure you RSVP. Spots are filling up. You want to make sure that you get to that December 15th to the 17th in Clearwater, Florida. Check your email. It is invite only. Check your spam. Check your promotional folder. It's coming from My Free Score now. Check your text messages. Make sure you're getting up-to-date text messages from us because we're getting you guys to events. We're getting you guys tools and access like never before. You don't want to miss any of that. So appreciate everybody, guys, jumping on today. It is our Metro Monday, and we're excited to be crushing that. We do have weekly trainings, guys. Make sure that you stay up to date. Our Metro Mondays, 4 p.m. every Monday. We never miss a Monday with delivering great information about the most accurate and up-to-date information and technology and new resources that we have to get you the best results for your clients. We have Wealthy Wednesday where we're providing training on actionable steps to grow your business, to get new lead sources, to be able to outsource, to be able to grow your business and scale it with professionals that are already doing so in the industry every Wednesday. And then every Friday, right now, we are on our Latin Day 90-day run reto de 90 días. It is our 90-day run for the Latin community. And Rafael is crushing that every Friday, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, guys, we're giving it to you live all throughout the week. Make sure if you missed any of our previous trainings before, whether it was Brent or Rafael or whether it was Rodney Peak, phenomenal gentlemen that know inside and out, what this can do for your business. If you've missed any of those trainings, go to myfreescorenowtv.com and you'll get all the access to all of the previous trainings. It's like a wealth of information in there, guys. It's literally like a university. Like if you want a master's in business, you probably could just go jump on My Free Score Now. And if you don't have a master's degree, by the end of all that information, you'll at least have an MBA, which is a massive bank account from all that information. So make sure you stay plugged in with us. Our Facebook group is crushing it. We are growing, guys. 2,600 plus members. Get your team involved. If you have people in the office, get them involved. If you have people in your team, operations people, customer service people, get them involved because you want to get the information. You want to have the buzz circulating. You want to be able to help grow your business. Leverage, guys, leverage. That's OPM, other people's money, OPT, other people's time, OPE, other people's efforts to be able to grow your business. We're providing you all that access right there in the Facebook group. All right. Check your progression. Last but not least, make sure you're hitting your bonuses. 25% increase, okay, in your commissionable earnings for hitting targets, guys. We want to reward the right behavior. When you win, we win. We want to take care of you. All right. Commercials are out of the way. That being said, let's bring on the incredible Mr. Brent Bradford. Do I have you on the line, sir?
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you.
Awesome.
I
My
like
man.
how you said MBA, massive bank account. I
That's
like
what
that.
we're here to give them, right? People don't
What I
realize, like,
like,
we're just trying to get you a massive bank account. That's it.
I like that. Good evening, everyone. Rodney had a family emergency, so he will not be able to join this evening. So I'm going to host the training alone. I open, I'm open to anyone asking questions that has questions that they need addressed. If y'all can give me the ability to share my screen, I kind of want to just do a basic walkthrough from beginning to end when it comes to creating a client profile.
Yes, sir.
I
It should
see
be good to
letters
go.
on a daily basis that are sent to me for printing, and the majority are great, but I do catch some here and there that um, have some issues when it comes to the client profile. So I kind of just want to address some of the recurring things that I'm seeing so that you can, not make those mistakes when you're processing your clients. So let me go ahead and share my screen. So hopefully everyone can see my screen. So I'm on Gala. And when it comes to creating our client profile, you need to keep one thing in mind. We are utilizing Metro2 compliance, which is based on compliance. Therefore, everything we do when we're creating our profile to generating our letters, we need to keep compliance in mind. And what I mean by that is when I'm creating a profile, so if I go here to um, manage my clients and I click add new clients, so let me Okay, so if I'm wanting to create a client, okay, I need to think of compliance when I'm entering all the information. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to enter the client's first name. Okay, and I want to do that all lowercase except for the first letter. The first letter's capitalized. And then for the last name, I'm going to do the same thing. I know it's very convenient and it's very common for people just to copy and paste from the credit report and then paste it into the profile. When you do that, you're going to end up with a client whose name is all capitalized. That's not compliance. Compliance is only the first letter is capital, everything else is lowercase. That's compliance. So we want to create our profile in compliance so that we can argue compliance. Okay. For the date of birth, you want to make sure that you enter the correct date of birth. For the social, you only have to enter the last four of the social. Now, if you do want to enter the entire social, you have that ability. You can enter the entire social. Okay. Just do not put the hyphens as separators because that's not compliance. Compliance is either a long string of numbers or just the last four of the social. I personally just do the last four of the social just because because it's easiest and I'm only providing exactly what the bureau's request or require. I'm not trying to provide any more. You don't have to put in a phone number. For the street address, you want to make sure that you spell everything out. And even if the address is 123 Northwest Main Street, I'm going to spell out the word Northwest, all lowercase except for the N being capitalized. And then I'm going to spell out the word street. Okay, this is compliance. Remember, everything we're going to be arguing compliance. We want to make sure that everything that we submit is in compliance. Okay, you're going to select your city or enter your city, select your state, put in the zip code. Okay, in terms of the email address, put in your client's email address. Okay. The software will go ahead and generate a username and password for your client portal. And the username and password is always going to be the first and last name and then the last four of the social. You want to make sure that you upload the identification documents. I personally like to crop and size my documents. I just like a clean look. I want my identification documents to be large enough to where they're legible, but I don't want them too large to where they're going to take up too much space. So I make the payment coupon from a utility bill. I'll make that 1,000 pixels wide. Photo ID, such as a driver's license, ID card, passport, I make that 700 pixels wide. And if I'm including a copy of the social, I do that 700 pixels wide as well. And then you're going to save the profile. So what am I missing? Oh, okay, username's already been taken. Okay, that's because I've already created a test client. So once you create the profile, so let me show you one that I have that's already been created. Okay, once you create the profile and you've uploaded your identification documents, The credit report's been uploaded. Now you're ready to generate your first attack. So I'm going to go to the attack area. And I'm going to go ahead and find John. Now, we've done a lot of updates here within the last few weeks. I mean, we've done a lot of updates. Most of the updates we've done have been based on requests from users. And so I kind of want to highlight some of those updates before I generate the attack. One of the updates that people requested was the ability to evaluate each account item by item. So we now have that ability. If you click expand, and then you click show additional information, and then I scroll down right here where it says expand to show ICBLD. I'm going to click that, and now I've got everything item by item that's on that credit report. If I take my cursor and I put it on this circle on the bottom right-hand corner that's pointing up, if I put my cursor there, it's going to show me everything that's on this credit report. And so what you see here is I've got this dark purple. Number one, that's my personal identifiers. I've got my green circles. Those are bad inquiries. I've got my dark green circles. Those are positive accounts. And then I have all of these colored circles here at the end. Those are my derogatory accounts. And each negativity type has its own unique color. So red would either be a charge off or a collection. You have the teal, that could be an account that's got 3+ late payments. You've got another version of blue, that could be accounts that have 3+ late payments, or 1 to 2 late payments, or student loans with 1 to 2 late payments. So every negativity type is going to have its own unique color. Okay. Now, in terms of the dark green, we don't have to worry about those because Gala will not, by default, will not attack positive accounts. However, a lot of people want to be able to be very specific in terms of what accounts they attack and what accounts they don't attack. So this is what this gives you the ability to do. So if, for example, I have a client that has this particular derogatory, it's a collection from portfolio recovery. But let's say that in this example, my client is in the process of negotiating a pay per delete with portfolio. And they say, I just don't want to risk anything with portfolio. I don't want to, risk making them mad or upsetting them or whatever it may be. Can we not attack the portfolio account? Absolutely. All you do is right here where it says do not attack, you click the box. Now, when you generate your attack, Gala will not include this account with portfolio in the attack. Okay. And you can do that on the other side as well. So let's say you have an account that for whatever reason, now this is not something that I advocate with my clients or that I recommend, but people do it for whatever reason. They may have something that's positively reporting, but they want to get it removed from the credit report. It could be something as simple as, they've got some student loans, and although the student loans are, in positive standing and there's no late payments, they're just causing the debt to income ratio to be too high. And they want to remove those student loans from the credit report, even though they're reporting positively. You can simply find this positive account and unselect the box that says do not attack. By unselecting it, you are now including it in the attack, even though it's a positively reporting account. So that is the ability that you have from one of the updates that was done a couple of weeks ago. It's been highly requested. And so far, everyone that I've talked to that's been utilizing it really, really likes it. What's another great thing is you have the ability to actually make micro adjustments. So if I do have a negative account, okay, and I'm just going to pull up an account as an example. Let's say right here, this Amex, okay? So let's say that this Amex is reporting as an account that's got 3+ late payments. Okay, but the client's got like 18 late payments and they only have 7 or 8 positive payments. Technically the account's negative, and based on the way it reads on the credit report, based on the primary negativity type, we would attack the late payments for deletion. But I feel that my client would be better served if I can get the entire account deleted as opposed to going after the late payments. Then you have the ability to change the negativity type. So if I want to go after it as, well, this one is actually selected to be attacked as a charge off. But um, if it was reporting as, having the late payments, I could change the classification to charge off so that I'm attacking the account for deletion, not attacking the late payments for deletion. Um, I'll do this sometimes, just depending on the client. It really depends on the account and what I feel would be
Hey,
the
where you
best
at?
action to take for that client. Now, if I've done 5 rounds, for example, or
That's
six
just
rounds,
so that I can attack ATAACK. Okay, that's fine. Just for the
can y'all mute yourself, please? Thank you. If I've done 5 or 6 rounds and for whatever reason this one particular derogatory is hanging around, I can't get it deleted, I may change the negativity type in which that I attack it, just to see if maybe making that change could get some movement. One thing you always want to remember, you can attack down, but you cannot attack up. And what I mean by that is you can attack an account as a lower negativity type, but you cannot attack it as a higher negativity type, meaning a collection is a lower negativity type than a charge off, but a charge off is not a lower negativity type than a collection. So you could attack a collect or a charge off as a collection, but you can't go vice versa. Um, Very rarely will I make an adjustment unless I've already had that conversation with my client, and I tell them, look, instead of trying to get these late payments deleted, I think you're better served if I try to get the account deleted. If they agree with that and they sign off on that, then I'll attack it as a charge off as opposed to attacking it as an account that's got 3+ late payments. But you do have that ability. And I want to point out, if you notice, if we look at all of these derogatory accounts, every one is different. Okay. So, meaning, if you look, this negative account is being attacked with 2 of the 3 primaries, and then it's being attacked with 5 of the 7 or 5 of the 6 secondaries. Whereas this one is only being attacked with 3 of the 6 secondaries and 2 of the 3 primaries. So the software is actually going to attack every account differently. It's going to make its selections based on what it's learned from previous results of what's been the most effective with getting that particular type of derogatory deleted from each of the credit reporting agencies. However, you do have the ability to make adjustments. If for whatever reason you want to attack every negative account with all 3 primaries and then all 6 secondaries, you have that ability. Okay. It's a little time consuming, but you can go through here and you can select all of these boxes to do that. Or if you flat out do not want any of the secondary bureaus included, you have the ability to deselect all the secondaries and only focus on the top 3 primaries. That way, you only have letters for the primaries, not letters for the secondaries. I know that a lot of times, printing and mailing can be time consuming, it could be expensive, and you would rather just focus all of your attention on the primary reporting agencies and not include the secondaries. You have the ability to just not print and mail those letters for the secondaries, or you have the ability to just not include them in the attack, and the software will not generate attacks for those secondaries. So you have the ability on a micro level to make adjustments for each individual item on the credit report. Another thing that they've done that, and that's if you go to the micro level. Now, if I'm going to start over,
Where y'all at?
I'm sorry. Oh, so if I go to attack area, so I want to show you something. If you're getting ready to generate an attack for a client and you notice that this client tab lights up in yellow, if you click on that tab, that is telling you that there's information that's missing, and it even highlights it in yellow and describes what information is missing. So you may have had a client that created their profile. You're ready to go ahead and generate that first attack. You see the yellow tab and you notice that your client forgot to include the last four of their social. Okay. You can then input that information, click save information, go back to general settings, and then you can generate your attack. I actually like to review all profiles before I even get to the stage of generating an attack, but this is there just to prevent you from generating an attack when there's information that's missing. So, when you're going to generate an attack, if you see that yellow tab, pay attention to it, make the adjustments that's needed if necessary. However, even though we have all of these new updates, for 99.9% of the time when I'm generating an attack, all I'm doing is clicking the create now button. So if I'm going to create the attack for my client that we're talking about in this example, I'm going to let Gayla select the attack that I'm going to use. Gayla already knows what round I'm on. I'm going to just click create now, and I'm letting Gayla make the decisions for me based on the results over the previous 15 days of what Gayla has learned to be the most effective based on the items on the credit report. So it's not just in general what's been most effective in general over the previous 15 days. It's what's been most effective over the previous 15 days for each derogatory type, each item on that credit report, because the software may decide that it's better to attack an account that has 1 to 2 late payments with this attack and then attack everything else with a different attack. So you could have multiple attacks being used at the same time when you generate your attack. So now let me pull up this attack that I just generated so that I can show y'all what I'm looking at. Okay, so hopefully everyone can see here. So I've got a total of 9 letters. So I've got TransUnion, Experian, Equifax, and then I've got the 6 secondaries. And if I actually open these letters, I want to show you every letter is completely different because every letter only has the accounts that Gayla has determined is most beneficial to attack with that particular bureau. So let me show you the letter so that you can get an understanding of what I'm referring to. So here I've got my 9 letters. So if I look at this letter for TransUnion, you notice I've got 9 pages. If I look at my letter for Equifax, that also has 9. If I look at my letter for LexisNexis, that has 9. So it looks like, so this one for Data X only has 7 pages. So that means that the letter for Data X may not have as many derogatory items on it as the previous letters because Gayla has determined that it's not beneficial to attack a particular derogatory with Data X. Okay, this letter only has 6, for example. So everything's going to be different.
Did he actually?
This letter only has 5. So again, I was talking about the identification documents. For me, I want my identification documents to be large and legible, but I want them to be clean. So if you notice in these examples, the identification documents are large enough to where they're very legible, but they're clean, they're cropped. I'm only viewing the driver's license. I'm only viewing social security card. I'm only viewing the payment coupon. It's very common for me to see letters where the driver's license is really tiny, and then I've got a bunch of stuff surrounding it, like a keyboard or somebody's lap or a table. And people don't take that into account when they upload the image, that the software is going to size the image down to fit on the letter, but the actual driver's license in terms of the entirety of that image.
That's why you got to do 700 pixels. See,
please mute yourself if you're on the call, just so that others can hear. So I'm very cognitive of this. So I always crop and I size my documents. I think it's very important that I'm only providing the information that's requested, but I want it to be large enough to where it's legible. I don't want it too large to where it's going to take up an entire page. And another thing, a lot of times clients will ask me to email them a copy of their letters just because they want them for their records. I feel comfortable sending letters to a client if their identification documents look like this. I've seen it to where a driver's license is upside down or sideways. I've seen it to where social security card's an inch big and it's just not legible. I've seen it to where the proof of address is so small that it's not legible. So, I feel I'm comfortable sending letters to a client if I've done the little things, such as cropping and sizing identification documents. But going back to the letters, if you actually notice and you look, every letter is different. I don't know if you can notice that as I go from letter to letter, but you notice that the language and the format of each letter is different because Gala has learned what's effective not only for each derogatory type or each negativity type, but it's also learned what's most effective with each of the credit reporting agencies. So it knows that when we're generating this letter for Experian, we want to use this language, we want to use this format because that's what history has shown to be most effective with them, as opposed to TransUnion. Even though we may be attacking the same accounts with TransUnion, the letters are going to be different because Gala has learned what's most effective with each. There are some questions. Okay. Any questions on the letters and on what I did to generate that attack?
Brent, I had a question. I was hoping you would be able to go back to the, where you expand options and let's what round it's on.
Yeah, let me go back to. Okay, so right here, expand option. Oops.
Yeah, so I generated. I know I have brought it up to you and Rodney about that client that I had with the I think it was a bankruptcy, and it was like we're just gonna have it stand alone. So
Yes.
I generated an attack right now, and then like 5 minutes later, I'm like, wait, I didn't generate it. I didn't generate one attack specifically just for the bankruptcy, right? Like I didn't select the do not attack for every other account. So I went right back like 5 minutes later, and it said round 2.
Okay, so then you can just go back to round 1.
Okay, that's what I didn't see. That's why I was kind of getting a little confused. I'm like,
so let's say, and I'll just give this so let's say you've got a client that's got a bankruptcy and you want to attack the bankruptcy all by itself, but you also want to attack everything else. You could do 2 separate attacks. Okay, so you could do round 1 and you could come down here and you could, and you expand everything. And you can come down here and you could remove everything except for the bankruptcy. Okay, you're going to have to do it per item by item, but you could come through here and you could do not attack everything except for the bankruptcy, and then generate the attack, and then do a new attack, change it back to round 1 because you're technically doing round 1 again for everything except for the bankruptcy, and then you can remove the bankruptcy. So that way you've got letters that are only specific to the bankruptcy. Nothing else is going to be on those letters. So that's going to be as aggressive and effective as possible for that bankruptcy. Yeah. And then you can generate the attack to include everything except for the bankruptcy. Now, it hasn't been released yet, but there is an update coming, and it's going to allow you to actually pick additional parameters. So you could say, I want only 1 item per letter. So let's say your client only has a bankruptcy and 2 negative accounts. You can select that option so it will create a letter specifically for the bankruptcy with nothing else on it. And then each of the 2 negative accounts, it'll create a letter for each of those. Okay, now understand, the more aggressive you go, this is considered an aggressive attack. The more aggressive you go, the more effective you're going to be. However, the more aggressive and effective you go, the least efficient you are. And when I say efficient, I'm talking about letter count. The more aggressive and effective you go, the more letters you're going to have. So if you've got 3 negative accounts, you could end up with 9 letters just for the negative accounts with the primary 3 and then all the additional secondary letters. So you could have 24 letters if you choose that route. Okay.
Now, as far as
that is coming, that's something that Rodney plans to have by the beginning of the year. So that is definitely something that's coming. So just know that that's an option, but also remember the more, and I use the term effective you go with your attack, the least efficient you're going to be. The least efficient you are, the more amount of work you're going to have because you're going to have an increased letter count.
Now, as far as adding, like you know how you mentioned, like let's say it's only attacking with TransUnion. If you add Experian, Equifax, etc., if you add other destinations, it might not necessarily help you, but it's not going to hurt you, right?
Correct. Right. Okay. Right now, the way the software is set up, it's attacking those negativity types, those accounts, with the bureaus that it has found has been the most effective. Okay. Yeah. I personally attack with all 6 secondaries and all 3 primaries for every negative account because it may not help me, but I know it's not going to hurt me.
Yeah.
But it could help me, so I do it. Okay.
Now, as far as we
increase my cost, yes, it increases my cost because I've got more letters to print and mail. But for me, that's just my strategy. But don't feel like you have to do that. The software's already set it up to attack it based on what it's learned has been the most effective.
Yeah. Now, as far as resizing, what was the way you do it specifically?
I use Paint. Okay, and so I'll open an image. So if my client sends me a picture of their driver's license, I open it in Paint, and then I'll use the snippet tool and I'll crop it to where it's just the driver's license, and then I'll size it and I'll make that 700 pixels wide. That way, on the letter, it's going to be nice and big.
Yeah.
Because I see it every day. I see letters where the driver's license is literally an inch big and it's not legible.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to give the credit reporting agencies or the bureaus any excuse to not investigate. I don't want them to try to claim that they can't verify identity because that's just a cop-out. They're just not wanting to investigate. But I don't want to give them an excuse or give them a reason to claim that. So I want my identification documents to be large, be legible. You know, everybody does it different. I know that Rodney likes to lay all 3 documents on top of one another, take one image and upload it. You can do that. It's perfectly fine. I personally prefer to do each document separate because I want to control the size, and that way I can make sure that they're nice and large.
Yeah.
But you can definitely do it. I mean, it's not wrong if you do it that way. You know, it's just like I said, I see a lot of examples every day. You know, and for me, you know, maybe because I'm a little OCD, for me, identification documents is something that I want to be consistent on because I want them to be what I call clean. I want it to be nice and clean. I want them to be large and I want them to be legible.
Yeah. Perfect. Appreciate it, Brent.
Yeah, so you have the ability. You can go through here and you can make adjustments. If you have an account that you do not want to attack for whatever reason, you have the ability to check the box and include that in the do not attack. Or you have the ability to unselect the box and no longer include it in the attack. Okay. By default, the software is saying we're going to attack it with all with these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bureaus, so 3 primary and 3 secondaries, but you can include the additional 3 secondaries if you like. So you have that ability. Any questions? Any other questions on generating the attack? I mean, it's very simple. Like I said, for 99.9% of the time, when I'm doing an attack, I'm just going to click create now because the software has already made all the decisions for me. I don't really have to think about it. The only time I'm going to do the expand options is if I specifically have a specific change that I want to make. But for the most part, I'm not making those decisions. I'm just clicking create now.
Hi, Brent. I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm I bought 5 tokens on Saturday,
Yeah,
and
what's your name?
Ashley is still saying, please buy credit to generate letters. I didn't.
Okay, I'll look, but because I remember you sent that message earlier, and I looked. It's showing that you've got the 5 credits, but I'll look again. I'll look again.
See, look, this is what it's showing. Let
Well,
me see.
I can't see, but I'll look after the call. I'll
Okay.
look,
Okay.
and I'll
Hi,
give you a
Brent.
call. But
Hi,
yeah, I
Brent.
remember checking that earlier.
Hi, Brent. This is Roxanne.
Hey, Roxanne.
I have purchased last month on the 16th the report for my husband, and it was a card that was sent from TransUnion, stating that that they didn't believe that was him
Correct.
who sent
Yeah,
it.
the stall
So
letter. Yeah.
the stall letter. So I uploaded into the documents in his file
Okay.
for you to see. Now that you said about the enlargement of the Social Security and driver license document that I sent, yeah, they're kind of small. If you could just enlarge it for me, I
Yeah,
would really
I typically do. Just so
Okay.
most people are aware
But
of that.
now that I know, I
Yeah.
would send I would
Yeah.
send them, enlarged. Now, the other thing is, none of the three credit bureaus either receive or threw away the letters, except TransUnion. And so I already purchased the new credit for him today,
Okay.
and it's already on the M2 Gala file. And if you could please speed up that process. We like to refinance this year, and hopefully it's just a couple of accounts that were late. One of them, it was like 3 years ago, and they're all paid and closed. And
Okay.
yeah, I would appreciate if you could help out on that.
Sure. Absolutely. I don't mention it much, but like if you do select us for the printing and mailing, if there is missing information, like I said, it's not uncommon for someone to forget to put the last four of the social, or maybe forget or they put in the wrong date of birth. We do make edits, so we edit every set of letters that need editing, and we'll make those little adjustments or edits that need to be done. If there is a proof of address, for example, that's been uploaded and it's just too small, we do enlarge that because we can do it like it's a Word document. It's really quick and easy for us. And so anytime we get letters, if we feel that there's something that needs to be adjusted in terms of document size, or if there's any information that's missing, we do make those adjustments for you. We just don't broadcast it, because I would rather do it because it takes me 30 seconds. I would rather spend 30 seconds to do it than to make you spend another $25 on a credit and redo it. Because there's no need for you to spend that additional money when I can easily make the adjustments for you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And the other thing that I've been having trouble with is converting the PDF to the JPEG or the other.
So with the PDF, like if it's a utility bill, for example, I will open it up as a PDF on my computer, and then I take a screenshot. That screenshot is now an image, and then I crop the image, and then I upload that into the profile, and that's what I use for.
I enroll with a company that does that, and I pay like monthly, where they convert every file. I just download it, and that's it, and they convert it for me.
Oh, okay. But that's how I've always done it. Is somebody's, like, if I have a client that signs up with me and I tell them I need, utility bill, cable bill, phone bill, and they send me an actual PDF of their utility bill, I just take a screenshot of the bill and then I crop out the payment coupon and size it, and that's what I upload.
Yeah, well, I did that finally today. So you got the new bill too, the new report for him. And so, and you had already the Social Security card and the driver license and the old FPNO, which it could be replaced with the one that is newer. So, but I thank you very much. And I just wanted to,
Before she hangs up, I wanted to share with her. I'm sorry, I didn't want you to get off. Try to download Scan. It's where you can use your phone and actually scan the document and turn it into PDF, and it's free. It's called, I'm gonna share it. I didn't want to let you go without. It's called Genius Scan.
Genius Scan?
Genius Scan.
Genius. Okay.
Yes, and they have a free trial, because I hear you're paying for things that you can really do for free, or you can pay Genius Scan and they will keep everything in a virtual database. But it's like you'll put your phone, your document, and it's like taking a picture, and it's going to turn it into a PDF, and it does that for free.
Oh, thank you, Kimberly. I really appreciate your
You're
input.
welcome.
Thank you. All right. Okay. Thank you, Brent.
Okay. Any other questions? So who else has their hands up that I can see has a question?
Me, Jorge.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Brent. Good evening, everybody. I was right now that you went over with the bankruptcies. In fact, I have a customer that has two collections and a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Would I do it right now that we don't have it that what you said that is coming up by the next year? So
You talk about the new update?
yes.
I'm not going to do anything different. I'm going to generate my attack like normal.
Okay.
But if I feel that I need to get more aggressive, that's when I start doing single items at a time. Instead of having everything on the same letter, I want only one item per letter, because the fewer items per letter, the more effective the letter. Okay. But at the same time, when you go more aggressive and effective like that, you're going to increase your letter count, which is going to increase your cost. So instead of 9 letters, you could end up with 36 letters.
Right.
You know, that could be a significant change in cost. So a lot of people can't go as aggressive as they particularly would like. The software goes as aggressive as it needs to be, but at the same time, trying to keep your letter count at a reasonable level. I think the most letters that I've seen up to date, the most I've ever seen is 13.
Okay. So you just recommend for me to just send it like that, like normal?
Yeah, just do your attack normal. Now, maybe after 3 or 4 rounds, if you want to get real aggressive with that bankruptcy, you can do an attack just for the bankruptcy and have only the bankruptcy on the letters, and then do another attack for everything else.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, see another. Okay. I put it, photo editor, Canva. Those are great options. Like I said, I use Paint because I have a Windows-based computer. It's a free app that's on Windows. And so I use it because it allows me to crop it and size it and all of that all in one app. And I've done it a million times, so it's very easy, but you can use any kind of app on a computer or on your phone to crop and size documents. I personally happen to use Paint because, it's a free app that's on my computer. Let's see. One of the updates that they came out with a few weeks ago that somebody asked me about earlier. So I just did that attack for John Doe. So now if I go to attack history, okay, we see John Doe is who I did an attack for. To the far right of the attack, you see this, what looks like an eyeball. If I click on that, okay, it's going to show me all the attacks, and then I click on the link. So let me make sure that y'all can see this. Right here, it shows my letter and it's translated into Spanish. Okay. A lot of people have wanted the ability to evaluate and review the letters in Spanish. Now, understand, you cannot print your letters in Spanish because the credit reporting agencies will not accept the letter in Spanish. They only accept letters in English, but you have the ability to evaluate your letter and to read your letter in Spanish. So this is one of the updates that a lot of people were requesting. So it's something that they've made available. So just know that you have that ability to read these in Spanish if you would like. And it even shows you what the original text was. And now it's showing you the conversion into Spanish. So let me stop showing that. Okay, so let's see here. Somebody else has questions. So for Calandra, I do offer one-on-ones. You can reach out to me after the call and we can discuss the one-on-ones. One of the things that I have noticed lately that people have been requesting or asking about is identification documents. So when it comes to identification documents, the credit reporting agencies only require that you provide proof of identity, so a photo ID. That could be a driver's license. It could be a military ID. It could be a passport. It could be a state issued ID that's a non-driver's license. Any of those photo IDs will work. Okay. They also require proof of current address. So that could be a utility bill, cable bill, phone bill, bank statement, a W-2, anything that's going to have the client's full name and their current address. You're not required to upload a copy of the social. I always request a copy of the social from my clients, and if they provide it to me, I include it because I'm one of these that, more is better in my mind, but it's not a requirement. So if your client can't provide a copy of their social or can't provide, a copy of their, W-2, it's not the end of the world. It's okay. It's not a requirement. What is a requirement is that you include the last four of the social in the profile. That is a requirement. But in terms of uploading a photocopy of their social security cards, not a requirement. So don't necessarily get hung up on that. I know that a lot of people have contacted me, over the years and have kind of been panicking about not having a copy of the social to upload. It's not a requirement. It's a nice to have. I include it if I have it, but it's not a requirement. So the only requirements are a photo ID and proof of current address. And the proof of current address could be anything as long as it's a legitimate proof of address. Like I said, I like to use like a utility bill, cable bill, phone bill, because it's going to have the logo and name of the company, like ABC Utility Company. It's going to have my client's full name and it's going to have their current address. And I like to use the payment coupon, which is typically the bottom third of a bill. If it's a bank statement, I'm going to use the top third of the bank statement. If it's a W-2, I'm going to use a top third of the W-2. I just want it to be a legitimate source of proof of address. I want the full first and last name, and I want the complete current address. But the uploading a copy of the social itself is not a requirement. I'm just going by some of the questions that people are sending me by messenger. Let's see. Any other questions anyone has? I want you to feel Rodney's not able to join us, so it kind of opens up a little time to some question and answer.
I have a question, Brent. I have a question.
Sure.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you. Listen, my main concern, well, not a concern, but my question is, I know you've been basically like saying do that every 2 weeks, every 15 days. And I literally started mine on October 1st.
Uh-huh.
So my 15th trial, my fourth round was November 15th, which was Saturday.
Okay, so let me answer this for you.
Okay, so
the software has learned, the Logix has learned that there's about a 4 to 5% increase in results if you do an attack every 15 days for the first 5 attacks. After the 5th attack, you go to a 30-day rotation. But doing that has only provides a 4 to 5% increase in results. That's a very small increase. So for those that can't afford to do every 15 days for the first 5 rounds, you can do every 30 days for the first 5 rounds, and it's perfectly fine. A lot of my clients, I do 30 days apart. I don't do every 15 days for the first 5 rounds.
So my question is basically I have already. So I'm on my 4th round. and November 15th.
Right. So, but
My whole thing is
I was gonna get to that. If you exceed the 15 days by a couple of days, that's okay.
okay. That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
my first
It doesn't
question.
have to be 15 days on the dot.
Exactly.
If it's 17 days, that's okay.
Right.
If it's 18 days,
Exactly.
that's okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
that
So,
was my
don't feel like
question right there.
don't
Perfect.
feel like you've completely wasted your opportunity because you missed it by a couple of
November
days. You're
15th would be
perfectly fine.
Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, you're perfectly fine. Like I said, I would say for a
Mine was
small number of my clients, I do every 15 days for the first 5 rounds. The
right.
majority of my clients, I'm doing every 30 days for the first, or for the every 30 days for every round.
So let
But
me ask you. So being that I'm doing mine on I'm just man on mine's actually on tomorrow, the 18th.
uh-huh,
Is that going to be fine? Do I have to do 15 from the
yeah,
18th day or?
yes, correct,
Okay,
yeah,
copy. Thank you. Thank you.
yeah. So and a lot of people, I've had people ask me, okay, hey, I did I'm doing every 30 days, and it's been 34 days. That's fine. Do your next attack. You're fine. You just don't want to exceed 45 days between rounds. If you
Okay.
do exceed 45 days between rounds, it's recommended that you start over.
Right.
And what that means is you go back to starting with round one. If you exceed 45 days between an attack. So if you do attack round one on day one, and round two on day 31, and round three on day 61, and then for whatever reason it's been 50 days and now you're ready to do round four, you have to go back and start over with round one. You don't just pick it up where you left off, even though it's been longer than 45 days. You go back to round one and start over. Yeah. So, and let me show you this. You brought that up. A lot of people have trouble with the schedule. If I go to attack area and I click expand, if you look here, if I put my cursor, it says round one is done on day one. Round two is done on day 16. This is what's recommended. By no means do you have to go by what's recommended. You can do every 30 days if that's what you desire, but it tells you the day. So you could put together a calendar. You could put it on your calendar and say, okay, I did round one today. So that means in 16 days, I need to do round two. And in 31 days, 31 days, I need to do round three. And in 46 days, I need to do round four. And in 61 days, I need to do round five. And then when you get to round six, that's when it goes back to a 30-day rotation. So round six would be 91. Round seven is 121, and so on. So, don't try not to overthink it. Again, like I said, if it's been 17 days since your last round and you're wanting to do the every 15 days for the first 5 rounds, go ahead and send out the next round tomorrow. You're fine. It's not gonna have much of any impact on your attacks.
Copy.
So this is a good question. I do not, and I have never believed that you select an attack based on what's on the credit report. Okay. All the attacks are effective. Let the software make your decisions for you. If I've got a client that's got a bunch of inquiries, and trust me, the most I've seen is like 150 inquiries. And yes, I've seen that many inquiries on one report. If I've got someone that's got 150 inquiries, I'm going to generate my attack for that client just like I would generate an attack for any other client. I'm going to let the software attack the inquiries based on what it believes and has learned is most effective. Because remember, Gala has LI. LI stands for learned intelligence. What does that mean? Gala's learning, and it updates 8 times a day. It's learning on a daily basis of how most effectively to attack every negativity type. So when I generate my attack today, Gale is going to attack that based on what it's learned to be the most effective for everything on that credit report. Now, a week from now, my attack may look differently because Gala has updated what it's learned is most effective, but it may not be different. It may not be any different. It's just Gala does update 8 times a day, and it's doing that based on what it has learned from evaluating results over the previous 15 days of what's most effective for each negativity type. So I don't say, okay, my client's got 100 inquiries, so I need to make sure that I select this attack. I don't do that. I let Gala select the attack based on what's on that credit report.
And
Wow.
it's funny to me because I promise you that after my fourth round, now I have two stall letters out of left field. I promise you.
Believe it or not, stall letters are
nothing.
they're not a bad thing. People think they're a bad thing, but they're not a bad thing. And I'll tell you why they're not a bad thing. That's proof that they're receiving your disputes.
Right.
Okay, number one. Right. So now they can never try to say they never receive them. That's proof. But if you receive a stall letter, you know they're going to investigate. They have to investigate. Okay. They're just trying to gain a little more time, but they're going to investigate. I've had clients that have gotten stall letters. I've done my update at 30 days and got deletions with those bureaus, even though my client received a stall letter. So I don't let a stall letter deter anything. I tell my clients about them ahead of time. I say, if you get them, you don't even need to let me know, because it's not going to change how I do anything. It's not going to cause me to deviate from my, how I execute attacks. I'm going to stick to my same timeline. I'm going to send the next round when it's time to send the next round, regardless of results and regardless of whether a client got a stall letter or not.
Copy, Brent. So let me ask you this. I just want to just have clarification. So, like I said, I had my fourth round November 15th.
Okay.
But it is not going to be mailed until actually tomorrow.
That's
which
fine.
Is tomorrow,
You're fine.
the 18th. So
yeah,
do I do 15th day from the 18th?
Yeah.
Or do
you want to do 15 days from when you send out your last round.
Okay. Copy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. For me, it's about being consistent. Okay. Whatever I decide on, if I decide on I'm doing a 30-day schedule for client A, then I'm going to make sure that I send my next round 30 days apart. Okay. If for whatever reason I'm 2 days or 3 days late on one of those rounds, I send that round and then I do 30 days from when I sent that round. I try to be as consistent as I can. Like I said, I've got some clients that I'm doing every 15 days for the first 5 rounds, and then I go to 30. But for a lot of my clients, I'm doing every 30 days just because the nature of my business is different than a lot of people. So I can't, I operate under a little different set of rules in terms of my client base than most people do, just because of the way my business is set up. But, don't get hung up on the small things. Don't overthink the little things. Be consistent. My philosophy is I'm consistent and I'm aggressive with my attacks.
Copy.
Wow. 400 inquiries. That's a lot of inquiries. So let's see. Oh, a lot of people have asked about this right here. CMSO stands for current most statistically optimal. What that means is Gala is going to select the attack that it believes to be the most optimal attack based on the logics that it's collected over the previous 15 days. Okay, that's where the LI is evaluating results and it's learning what's most effective. So it's going to pick the attack out of all of these attacks. It's going to pick the attack that is most statistically optimal. You have the ability to override that if you want. If you are in love with the lava attack and you want to use the lava attack, you have the ability to select the lava attack. Just understand by doing that, there is a chance, not saying you will, but there is a chance that you could negatively affect how good your results could be. Okay, not saying that you can't get good results. Don't take it that way, but you could be reducing your chances of getting the best possible results by not allowing Gala to select the attack for you, but you have the ability to select whichever attack you desire. And just so that you understand, I may generate an attack and Gala may use lava for A, B, C, and D negativity types, but then I could have F negativity type, and lava and Gala could create letters for that negativity type and use a different attack. So it may be lava for everything except for this type of negativity account or this type of derogatory account, and it may use the EPA mix for those. So you actually have an attack that consists of multiple attacks. Okay, that's what's going to happen when you use CMSO. That's what I allow Gala to do. I don't make any adjustments. Yes, lava is a great attack, and I know people that love lava, but don't feel like you have to try to decide what attack is most effective based on what's on your client's credit report. You don't have to do that. All you have to do is allow Gala to select the attack for you based on the logics. And that's what CMSO stands for, current most statistically optimal, meaning it is based on the logics. The most statistically optimal attack is what Gala's going to select for your attack based on what's on your credit report, because every credit report's different. So I could generate 10 attacks today for 10 different clients, and all 10 of my attacks could turn out differently. Some of them could be all lava. Other ones could be all EPA mix. Some could be a combination of lava and EPA mix. Some could be a combination of EPA mix and fire. It could be any combination based on what Gala has learned to be the most effective.
Click the damn button.
Yeah, click the button. Like I said, for most people, attacks I'm generating, I'm clicking create now, because I'm going to let Gala make the decisions for me based on what it's learned has been the most effective. Okay, so right here, somebody's asking, would I share what attack is most aggressive? All attacks are equally aggressive, equally effective. Okay, what makes an attack more aggressive than another attack is how many items are on a letter. The update that's coming out at the first of the year is going to give you the ability to determine how many items are put on a letter. But I want to caution you to not understand that when you do that, you're going to increase your letter count. When you increase your letter count, you're going to increase your cost. Okay. It costs a lot more to print and mail 36 letters than it does to print and mail 12 letters. Okay. Whether you're doing the printing and mailing yourself or you're utilizing the printing and mailing service. So what makes an attack more effective than another attack is the number of items that are allowed per letter. Fewer items per letter, the more effective the letter. Okay. But all the attacks are equally effective. Gala's just going to make the selection of which attack to use based on what it's learned is most effective for the items on that credit report. Okay. But come the first of the year, one of the updates that's coming is going to allow you to select how many items you want to put per letter. I mean, if you wanted to be as effective as possible, you would only have one item per letter. But think about what could happen. If you've got a client that's got 40 negative accounts and 20 inquiries, you could have 60 letters. That's a lot of letters to print and mail. So, you always keep that in the back of your mind. For the majority of the time, I'm just going to allow Gala to generate the attack for me and make all the selections for me. If I've got a client that for whatever reason they've got a charge off and that's the only thing I'm really having difficulty getting to get deleted, and it's been 5 or 6 rounds, that's when I may decide to go real aggressive and just do an attack for that item by itself with nothing else. That would be considered aggressive or effective. But in terms of the attacks, they're all equally effective. And you may not know this, but Gala is creating its own attacks. It's learning that when it sees this, this, and this, and it does A, B, and C, it's getting really, really good results. So it will create an attack based on that. And a lot of times you'll see where it'll say, like right here, if you see here where it says gas U, global automated strategies, universal in updates, that's Gala doing the updates. That's not Rodney or his team or the developers. They're not doing the updates. Gala's doing the updates itself because it's updating that attack to be an even better attack based on what it's learned. So believe it or not, Gala has, become its own self-sufficient animal. Okay. We don't even need to feed it anymore. It's doing what it's doing based on what it's learning. And that's what's amazing. That's what makes Gala as effective as it is. And that's why when you want to generate an attack, it's recommended to just click create now, let Gala make the decisions for your attack. It's easy. I have a client that sent me 43 new clients last week. And I was easily able to process all 43 clients in one day. The most time-consuming aspect was creating the profile, but I was able to generate the attack for each client in less than a minute because I allowed Gala to make the decisions for me, and all I did was click create now. I generated my attacks, I printed and mailed my letters.
Hey, Brent, weren't you, but don't you add the extra destinations like the?
I do, yes, yeah. I do that because, I want to include these right here. And I also deselect creditor letters just because I don't want to look at them.
Yeah.
And then I would click create my letters.
Can you do it? Can you do that all over, Brent? That's where I was having confusion. So that was actually my next question because I think for one client I sent a mixture of I couldn't because I'm still kind of used to M2 Phenom because that's what I was using. So I'm like getting more and more used to M2 Gala, but I feel like I sent round one letters and round two like in one round.
Okay, so John Doe is my client. It's time for his next round. Okay.
Get your water.
All I'm going to do is include. So I want all 6 secondaries and I do not want creditors. And then I'm going to click create my letters. That's all I do for every single client.
But let's say it went to round two right now. How would you put it back to round one? That's where I was like,
right here.
Throwing me off.
Here, let me shut this down and open it back up. If I expand. Here, let me do this. Let me get out and go back into the attack area. So when you click expand options, you're going to click where it says show additional information. Okay. And here's your round. So if it says round two, but you want to go back to round one, you just change it to round one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That makes, appreciate that, Brent. That's where I was literally headed.
So let's say, for example, you're doing an attack and it's round two and you're doing your attack and you do the attack and then you realize, oh, I forgot to do something or I made a mistake or, I just realized that the client sent me an updated proof of address, so I need to change the address in their profile. You can make all those adjustments, save the profile, then you can go back in, and then you can go back and back to round even. And now it's going to say round three, but you can go back to redo round two. So you always have that ability to change to go back with your attack with the round that you're on. So like I said, if you did 3 rounds and it's now time for round 4, but it's been 48 days since your last attack, go back and start again at round 1.
Okay. Now, the other question I have, Brent, is how you stated for the 15-day send out, like for the letters every 2 weeks, how it's, what is it, 4 to 5% extra?
It's like Rodney said, it's about a 4 to 5% increase in results. Um, 4 to 5% is a lot, but you have to do what's best for you. Everybody's charges different fees. Everybody's business expenses are different. It may not be financially feasible or prudent for you to do every 15 days for a client.
Yeah.
Because that's essentially going to double your cost. Okay. It
Brent,
may
did you
be
say 4 to 5 or 45%?
4 to 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
4 to 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a small percentage, but it is a small, it's an increase. So, there's a 4 to 5% increase in results. So for a lot of people, it may be worth it to do every 15 days for the first 5 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But for a lot of people, it just may not be prudent to do so. So I don't recommend that you do something if it doesn't make financial sense for you to do it.
Yeah, but the question I had, Brent, was I'm trying to figure out how to ask it without sounding too, I guess confusing or ignorant. But it's like, let's say, because you know how people were asking about like switching stuff up, like which attack is most efficient or which attack is most
Right.
aggressive, stuff like that. Like, is there a way where maybe, Rodney or maybe you guys will be able to get together and kind of bring it to life where it might say, if you do this,
Well, see,
it's 4 to 5.
no, that's not, it doesn't work that way. I mean, the lava, like, let me just give you an example. The lava attack is very, very effective, but it's not, but Gala may have learned that the lava is really effective for charge-offs and collections. But if you've got an account that's got 1 to 2 late payments, EPA mix is more effective for the accounts with the 1 to 2 late payments. So when you generate your attack, if you do the CMSO, it's going to use lava for the collections and charge-offs, and it's going to use the EPA mix for the accounts with 1 to 2 late payments. Okay. Yeah. So, you have the ability, if I know people that are hung up on attacks. They love an attack. Not saying that that's wrong, but they just love a particular attack because they get really, really good results from that attack. So they want to use lava every single round for every single client, regardless. Hey, if you're getting great results, do it. You may get a little bit better results if you allow Gala to select the attacks for you. Okay. I'm going to err on the side of caution. I know Rodney. I know Metro 2. I have seen how effective Metro 2 is over the last, 10 plus years. I trust in Rodney and I trust in the software, and I'm going to allow the software to make those decisions for me. That's a hard thing to do. Trust me, because I'm OCD. I have to have control over everything. Okay. I mean, I wouldn't work 80 hours a week if I didn't have trouble letting go of certain responsibilities, but I can't do that. So, I don't do it. But that's been the hardest thing for me from the beginning, was allowing the software to make decisions for me, because I may think I know what's best, but the reality is the software knows what's best. Okay. So, but if you have found that every time you did the lava attack, you got a bankrupt, every time you got a bankruptcy deleted, you got it deleted when you use the lava attack, and you've got a new client that's got a bankruptcy, you have the ability to boom, I'm going to use lava for that bankruptcy. You have that ability. You have the ability to change anything you want about your attacks. That's why, they gave you the ability to do that by looking at each account individually. Okay. But for me, I'm going to allow Gala to make those decisions. The only thing I'm doing different is I'm making sure that I create letters for all 6 secondaries. That is the only adjustment that I make. Other than that, I let Gala make all the decisions for me, because Gala knows better than I do.
Hi, Brent.
I don't know the statistics like Rodney does, but I think Rodney said that software like Gala can make 1 billion decisions a second or something like that. It would take you 30 years to do what Gala can do in 1 minute. I don't know all those numbers, but it's definitely true. Gala knows what's best based on the logics. And that's what separates Gala from everything else. You have all these softwares out there, talking about they have AI, they have AI. AI is great, but AI is nothing more than AI is going to do nothing more than regurgitate what it's been told, what it's been taught. Whereas Gala does what it does based on what it's learned. And there's a huge difference. Okay. I hate to use the same analogy over and over again, but, if your mother tells you not to touch the stove because it's hot and you're going to burn your hand, how many times have we seen that kid touch that stove anyways? Okay. But if a kid touches a stove and burns his hand, he learns, I don't want to touch that stove. It's going to burn my hand. That's what Gala's doing. Gala's doing what it does based on what it's learned. So, the hardest thing for me when I first got in this industry, the hardest thing for me was to turn over control to a software and allow the software to make decisions, even if I think otherwise. That was the hardest thing for me. But once I was able to do that and I trusted in the process, I saw the results of doing that. And I don't second guess anything now. I just let the software make the decision for me. So, as Raphael says, when you're doing your attack, just click the button. Just click create now.
Hi, Brent. I have a question for you because I'm not very clear on this. So if the person generates the second round after 15 days, or 15 days, it's so the letter has to be different, or it could be
the letters will be different. So if I generate an attack today, and then I generate round 2 in 15 days, my letters are going to be different.
Okay.
I mean, you can generate round 1 today, and then in 2 days generate round 1 again, and your letters would be different. The software updates every 8 times a day. So 8 times a day, the software is making adjustments, making updates to the attacks, making updates to the logics. So when it generates that attack, it's making the decisions on that attack based on the latest information that it's learned.
Yeah, but and if the credit bureaus, takes like 30 days to usually, to send you back the results.
No. The bureaus have 30 to 45 days to investigate.
Right, to investigate.
Right.
And
it may take them 90 days before they ever send you anything in the mail.
But if you send the second one on 15 days, what would that do?
Cause them to initiate a new investigation.
On top of the other investigation.
Correct. Because what we're doing is every time we're generating an attack, we're attacking from a different perspective.
Okay. So
the easiest way to explain this is we're attacking based on compliance. Okay. And compliance can get very complicated. I can't explain it the way Rodney can, but compliance has to do with every possible aspect of the data that's on the credit report. It has to do with the information that's reporting, the manner in which it was reported, the format that it's on the credit report, every aspect. So every time we generate an attack, it's attacking it from a different angle or different aspect. So we may be attacking this negative account based on these perceived deviations in the reporting standard today, and in 2 weeks we're attacking it from different attacking it based on different perceived deviations.
Yes, but
so every attack is 100% different. That's why I've heard people say, well, I generate an attack, I mail my letters 15 days later, I'll mail the same letters. No, you can't do that. If you do that, you run the risk of being flagged as a frivolous disputer because the bureaus are receiving identical letters as what you've already sent in. You want your letters to be unique every time they're sent in.
Yeah, but while one dispute is going for the 30 days or 45
See,
days, whatever.
that's the problem. It's not one dispute every 30 days. There is no rule that says there's only allowed one dispute every 30 days. You could send in letters every 5 days if you wanted to. And the bureaus are going to investigate every single one of them as long as they're unique. Where you run into the problem is when you're sending the same disputes in.
So when you send the first one, that let's say that they take 30 days, but then you send the second one that after 15 days, then let's say that they come back with the result of the first one, and then what happened to the other one?
They're still investigating it. That's why you don't want to exceed 45 days between rounds, is because you don't want investigations to close out. You want to send your next round while there's still an investigation being currently conducted. You want to keep the process going. You don't want to let anything close out or become stagnant. You always want to be sending that next round before the previous round investigations concluded.
It's interesting. I never heard of that, so that's good.
Yeah, you hear people say, the whole every 30 days thing. I don't know where that came from, to be honest, because the bureaus don't have 30 days to investigate. They have 30 to 45, and they can push it further. That's why they send out stall letters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When I first got in the industry, things changed. When I first got into the industry, it was every 35 days is when you send out your rounds, every 35 days. Okay. Then it changed to every 30 days. Now the software is learning for the first 5 rounds, it's a little bit better results if you send out every 15 days for the first 5 rounds, and then you go to 30. 3 months from now, it could say, you only need to send out every 15 days for the first 3. It can change.
Okay.
But every time you send letters, the bureaus start new investigations, but the old investigations are still going on.
Okay, so in this case, I would like to, so if you could send me, as soon as you send out my husband's letter, send me something so I know from that day, 15 days later, if I don't receive any, then I could send the other one as well.
Okay, absolutely.
And then as far as my profile, it's under my name, Roxanne Angelica, but also under my corporation, AOB Positively Different LLC.
Okay.
So it will be easier to I don't know if the email, you could locate it like that, right?
Yes. Yeah, I can look it up either way.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, right. and you can send me a message through Messenger just to remind me if you want. I'm perfectly fine with people messaging me through Messenger, or you can send me a text, through the texting system that I use, or you can send me an email. You can reach out to me in any fashion.
Okay, if you could send me an email, I would really appreciate it. I never do Messenger anyway.
Oh, okay, not a problem. Okay. So we're past the hour. So any additional questions?
Yes,
hey,
I have a question.
Yes.
When I signed in, it was telling me that we get free tokens. I never got them.
When the software first launched, what was it, 7-8 months ago, they gave free credits to people to kind of test out the software, kind of as an initial phase. But that hasn't been the case for about 3 or 4 months now.
Oh, okay. That was the beginning of this month. It says you get 5 credits.
No. I mean, I know that on last week's call, Rodney did a kind of a promotion, and people had to send him a message with certain information, and he would give them some free credits. But I'm not aware of any free credits just for signing up that I'm aware of. If there's something that I'm not aware of, Jay, Will, or Raphael, please let me know. But as far as I know, there are no complimentary credits at sign up.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And my next question was, so not the date that you print the letter, It's the day you send them out. You
Not the
wait
day. You
15
don't
days.
go by the day that the attack was generated. You go by the day that you mail the letter. So if I mail, like for example, I do the printing and mailing. So if someone sends me an order on a Monday and I send them an invoice on Monday, but they don't pay that invoice until Wednesday, their letters are going to be mailed on Wednesday, so that it's 15 days or 30 days from the date that the letters were mailed.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay. Sure. Absolutely.
Hi,
Brent.
I have one question.
Mhm.
Sure.
So I have a client and she's married, but she said that she doesn't want, she sent me over her information, but she doesn't want, she said there's some accounts with her and her husband, and she doesn't want any of those accounts touched. Will they be touched just because they're in both of
Well,
them?
if the debt is in both of their names, it's going to be on both of their credit reports.
So
Okay.
it's no way around it.
Well, each of their credit reports is so, like if they have a mortgage and they're both on the mortgage, that mortgage is going to be on each of their credit reports.
Mm-hmm.
If you, for whatever reason, even if it's a negative account and you do not want to attack that account, you can go to expand options, show additional information, and then right here where it says expand to show, and then you can go to that particular account and you can click the box that says do not attack. So now that particular account will not be included in the attack if that's what your client's wanting.
Oh, so, okay. She got me doing more work. Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's all I have to do. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hey, Brett, can I have a
Yeah.
question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've been trying to ask a question. So, is there any way that we could do personal identifier letters only?
Say that again.
Is there any way that we could do personal identifier letters only, like we used to do in
Yes.
Prodigy?
Yeah. So right here, if I go to attack area, if I do expand, and then I do a show additional, where's it at? I skipped over it. Right here. You want to unselect everything except for the PIs. So here's personal identifiers only. So I've unselected everything else. So when you generate that attack, it'll be PIs only.
Okay, thank you.
Did you see what I did?
Yes, I did.
Okay, yeah.
And would that only go to
Perfect.
the major three, Brent, or everyone that you select too?
So right here, it's going to go to who Gala deems it most beneficial to go to. So it could be the primary three, and it could be 4 of the additional 6, or it could be 2 of the additional 6, or all 6 of the secondaries. But it's who Gala determines, or who Gala feels it's going to be most beneficial sending them to.
But it won't hurt me if I select the other destinations, right? Like
No,
always.
will not hurt you at all.
Okay. Appreciate it.
So you could go here and you could select, all of them, and send just the PIs to the 3 primaries and the 6 secondaries.
My suggestion is if you're gonna use a token, you might as well just select everything.
Correct. Might as well just click create now and attack everything that's negative. But people have different reasons for things that they do, and I'm perfectly okay with that. I know people that like to attack personal identifiers and then wait 2 weeks and then attack everything else for their first round. And then for round 2 and beyond, they attack everything together. Everyone's got different reasonings for what they do. We're just giving you the ability to do that if that's what your desire is.
That's what
Mr.
I do. I do
Mr.
5
Bradford.
day 1,
Yes.
5, and 10.
Yes, Mr. Bradford, I have a question.
Sure.
My hopefully 2 for 1. My first question is, when we were discussing last week about the attack letters, so basically from what I'm getting, it's kind of our choice in the way we want to attack them. So we don't have to send everything at once, because I did send like every letter that I generated last week, because I am new to the credit situation. Do you have any suggestions on doing the PIs first? Say, for instance,
I personally have found no benefit in doing PIs before everything else. That's just me. I've been in this industry for long enough. I've tried just about everything. And I didn't really see any noticeable difference. So I attacked PIs with everything else.
And what about bankruptcies? What have you seen with that? Is
I
there
know
any?
that with bankruptcies, you absolutely want to include secondaries for all the secondaries for bankruptcies, because bankruptcies are not reported by the courts; they're reported by secondaries. The information is housed with PACER. These secondary bureaus, or what I refer to as data brokers, are going to these various sources like PACER. They're collecting that data and they're selling it. And one of their primary customers are the primary bureaus. So they are the ones that are reporting it to the bureaus. They have their own credit reports as well. So I want to make sure that I'm going after the bankruptcy with the primaries and the secondaries. So I always make sure that I include all 6 secondaries for the bankruptcies, but I do that for everybody. So I'm not even having to think about it.
Thank you.
Sure.
What do you suggest when it
And
comes
also,
back
just so
on
you
there?
know, when you have a bankruptcy, Gail is also going to create a letter for the court. So you may have a letter that says U.S. Bankruptcy Court of, Atlanta.
I do.
Okay, so yeah, so like I said, Gayla knows what it's doing. Gayla's going to make the decisions based on what it knows is most effective.
What do you do when it comes back on there? Like I had student loans was removed from one of my clients, but now it got back on there.
The actual student loan got removed and then came back.
Yeah.
That tells me it was a soft deletion. Okay, and what that means is the bureaus will block an item from reporting while it investigates, and then once the investigation is concluded and it's been proven, then they remove the block.
So just keep attacking.
Keep attacking it. Yes.
Is it so it'll come back off with like
Yeah.
a hard pull?
Keep attacking it to try to get it permanently removed. Correct.
Okay. And so are you doing certified mail or you're doing
No, I,
okay.
I've never done certified ever for anyone that I've personally processed. I've never done certified because, in my opinion, and I've had conversations with Rodney on this a million times, and he agrees with me. It's really a waste of money. Sending certified does not make the letters get there quicker. Sending certified does not put your letters at the top of the list. All sending certified does is provide you with the tracking number, and it's not uncommon for the post office to not
Update
it as they should every single time.
Okay. Thank
Like
you.
I literally got sent something. I got sent a check by this, in my personal life, I got sent a check by someone and they sent it certified. I received it in the mail, but according to the tracking number, it was still in transit, even though I've already received it. So, the letter carriers don't always update. So in my opinion, certified, if it makes you sleep better at night to send letters certified, send them certified. I don't feel it's worth the money. And that's just a personal, and as someone that does printing and mailing, if you want certified, I provide that option. I'll send them certified. I'll send you the tracking numbers. But in my personal business, I do not send certified.
Way cheaper too.
Yeah. Yeah. Certified's like, $7 a letter. I mean, it's not cheap.
Right.
Yeah.
Good to know.
You're paying that for a tracking number that may or may not be updated.
Dang.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
we're past an hour and a half, so I'll take one more question.
Nobody's asking, so I was just gonna say, last month it was the last time sending out for a client. I think it was 11, 12 letters. It was like one something. Last week I sent out 4 different clients. It was like 20, 30 letters. It was like $40, $50. So it was like half of half just sending out regular compared to certified.
Yeah.
So it's way cheaper. Way cheaper.
Yeah, certified. I've just, Rodney says, and I agree with him, that if you know that you've got a clear violation, and let me explain, there's a lot of people that think, it's real easy for people on the internet to say, sue, 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 sue. You've got to know that you've got a clear and flagrant violation in order to sue. Okay. Because lawyers that take these kind of cases take them on contingency, and they're not going to take the case unless they know 100% they're going to win. Okay. So if you know for a fact you're going to sue, then send certified, like your 6th round, send it certified just so that you have that paper trail. But other than that, I don't personally feel it's worth the investment to send certified. That's just my personal experience, and I know that Rodney agrees with that as well. Well, I appreciate everyone getting on the call. We had a nice call, lots of great questions. Jay, Will, do you have anything you wanted to add in?
The poor guy, Zoilo Pichardo has been trying to get his question in, and
Oh,
I guess
No, he already asked.
oh, okay. So, well, I'm gonna go ahead and end the call. Looks like Raphael and Jay Will aren't on it, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the call. If anyone's got any questions, feel free to send me a message. I'm always happy to answer.